Hi everyone, I am Nelly Odessa from the Acting for Non-Actors studio. And in this video, I'd like to talk to you about comparison and competition. Is it helpful or is it harmful? So sometimes people who take my Acting for Non-Actors class do that. They compare themselves to others. We may do an exercise and somebody, may stand out and do a better job. And somebody else might panic and say, wow, this person was so spontaneous and they were so interesting and they took so many risks. They're so much better, and they jump to conclusions saying they're definitely a much better public speaker than I am and they're more creative than I am. And you need to stop doing that, because that at all is not helpful, because you don't know where they've been. Maybe they have more experience than you do. Maybe they're better at this exercise and you'll be better than other exercise. Comparing yourself to others for the most part is really not helpful, because it just puts you in your head and it just blocks you and makes you feel like somebody else is better than me, I'm not good enough, and that it doesn't really do much for you. It doesn't really move you further along. And of course, we do this in our lives all the time. We compare ourselves with, others in our industry, saying this person's business is more successful than mine. Or you might compare yourself to a friend and say, this person that I went to school with, they're married and they have a beautiful family and they just bought a house and they're so successful, and I'm here, all alone. So this kind of thinking is not at all helpful. You might be better in one thing, they might be better in another thing. So don't do that. Now, having role models, like people who are more successful in your industry, or who are just successful in general, that people that you look up to, that inspire you and motivate you to work harder and work smarter, that is totally fine, and I encourage you to have role models to look up to. I look up to a lot of people that really motivate me to move further along and become more successful. But if comparing yourself to others leads to this sense of, I'm not good enough and they're better than me, and just blocks you and puts you in your head and makes you worried and stressed out, that at all is not helpful. Now, some level of comparison is very good for you. Now, what am I talking about? I'm talking about comparing yourself to yourself. That's what you want to do. So if you're taking a class, what you want to ask yourself is, am I further along today than I was, a month ago? Do I feel like I've learned more? And do I feel like I've developed more skills and talents? Do I feel like I've grown? So you want to constantly be comparing yourself to yourself, because that is the way to personal and professional goals and personal and professional growth. You want to ask yourself, am I further along in my life, in my career, and my relationships this year than I was a year ago? That is the kind of comparison that is helpful to you. But comparing to yourself to others for the most part is not at all helpful, because it really doesn't do much for you and stresses you out, and that's not a good feeling to be operating on. So again, I hope that this was helpful. If you think that this reminder could be helpful or inspiring, or just give a new perspective to somebody you know, feel free to pass this video on to them. You can email it or share it on social media. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Nelly Odessa, and I'll see you next time on Acting for Non-Actors Tips. Bye!